My name's Chuck, and in the fall of 1996, I was an 18-year-old freshman at the University of Alabama, wide-eyed and desperate to fit in. I'd grown up a farm boy in a small town, the kind where everybody knows your business, and college was my shot at becoming the first in my family to make it out into the big bad world. I wanted to be somebody. When my mama first got sick, I remember always thinking I could get smart enough to cure her. That didn't pan out, but my sense of optimism didn't break apart because of it. I just tried to motivate myself even more. That's why I rushed Delta Kappa Epsilon, or DKE, the fraternity with the best parties, the best connections, and the kind of reputation that could open doors for someone like me. I didn't realize back then that some doors lead to places you can never come back from. During Rush, where groups of kids go house to house and sort of man-flirt their way into the right fit, I'd mentioned my dad was a Clemson alumni, so the brothers all took to calling me Stripes, both because Clemson's mascot was the tiger, and also because a cowardly tiger shows his true stripes at some point. The two schools were pretty big football rivals. Pledging started out like I expected. Me and the other pledges, 20 of us, all nervous and trying to act tough, got dragged out of our dorms at 2 a.m. by brothers in ski masks. They loaded us into vans, blindfolded, and drove us to some backwoods field. The air smelled like pine needles and cheap beer, and when they ripped off our blindfolds, we were standing in a circle of tiki torches, the brothers screaming at us to chug warm natty light or do push-ups in the mud until our arms gave out. When one pledge puked, another pledge had to chug a mouthful of beer to spit it in his face to wake him back up. It was humiliating, sure, but it felt like a rite of passage I'd seen Animal House. I thought I knew what I was in for. Gross I could handle. I grew up on a farm after all. My best friend in the pledge class was Tommy. He was from Mobile, a lanky kid with a quick laugh and a knack for diffusing tension. We bonded the first weekend when we both got stuck cleaning the frat house kitchen after a party, scrubbing vomit off the linoleum while the brothers laughed and threw bottle caps at us. Tommy was the kind of guy who'd crack a joke about it, make it bearable. "We're basically Cinderella, man," he'd say, grinning. "Just waiting for our fairy godmother to show up with a cup for the keg." Tommy was pre-med as well, so we got into a good habit of studying together at the libraries before lineups. He was poor too, but he never asked for anything. "I'm just happy to be doing this, man. It's like a movie." Our pledge educator, a fancy title for the brother in charge of training us on how to be brothers, was a senior named Kurt, a larger-than-life guy who loved chain-smoking cigarettes and playing darts. Most of the information we learned seemed important at the time. What year did DKE arrive on campus? Who were our founding fathers? But in reality, no one really remembered this shit after graduation. What I remembered most about Kurt was the time incident. See, midway into the process, two pledges get selected to show up to the house after a lineup, the smartest and the best drinker. This is right after the pledge gets fired for us not learning fast enough, something dramatized and something that happens for every single pledge class, regardless of how well they're doing with retaining dumb dates and facts. Tommy and I were the ones selected here. Tommy was the better drinker. I'd been doing the best on the weekly tests at lineup, and they immediately spouted out a super long quote to us and then asked us what time it was. If we couldn't recite the quote back perfectly, we took a shot of Jameson from a nearly full handle in front of us. The quote itself was challenging, but the hard part was trying to memorize it before the alcohol hit our systems. Tommy got it surprisingly fast in a little under 10 tries, while I hadn't even gotten through the first half. "You can leave now, Tommy. I know you've got class tomorrow, or you can stay here, and every time you go, that's another chance for Chuck to hear the full quote," Kurt said with a dark gaze to his eyes. "I reckon I'll stay then," Tommy said solemnly, giving me a knowing glance before rattling off the quote once more. I got close, for whatever that was worth, but as the alcohol sunk in, both of us became sloppier and sloppier until eventually that handle was gone. Two of us had drank it, and it was gone. "No one ever fucks it up this bad." Kurt seemed furious as he reached for another handle to put up on the table. Thankfully, the other brothers stopped him, but I could see in his eyes this was genuine anger. I don't remember much of the rest of the night, but I'm grateful I survived. Tommy and I were quick to pull trigger after we left the event and fell asleep in his D.